Today we'll take up the most important issue of nuclear non-proliferation, because if you look at the present Russia-Ukraine military conflict, you will find there is a talk of use of nuclear weapon by Russia. Over a period of time, Russia has threatened both directly as well as obliquely that if it is needed, and if Russia is pushed into a corner where Russia is put into a situation where its existence will be at stake. I mean, if Russia suffers from existential crisis, then Russia would not hesitate to use nuclear weapons against any country that it thinks is a threat to Russian existence. So, in the present context of Russia-Ukrainian war, you will find that nuclear non-proliferation has come into discussion, has come into forefront, in a more important fashion. But if you look at the issues related to nuclear weapons technology, countries who wanted to have nuclear weapons technology, they did it on their own. First, as we know, USA achieved it, then Russia achieved it, just after the Second World War. Then you will find subsequently UK, France, and China in 1960s got it. India has also tried to achieve nuclear weapons on its own by using indigenous technology, and we all know that our first nuclear test under the government of Srimati Indira Gandhi in 1974, the first nuclear weapon was exploded, or the experiment took place, which is referred to as Buddha smiles, or the smiling Buddha. Now you will find that once India achieved the nuclear technology, I mean, and along with India, other countries also tried to achieve the nuclear technology. For example, Israel. Israel is referred to as a nuclear threshold country. Threshold country means it is generally believed that they are having those nuclear weapons technology. Maybe they are also having the nuclear weapons. They have already developed those nuclear weapons, or some of them at least, but they have not declared themselves as nuclear weapon countries, or the countries who are having nuclear weapons. So similarly, if you look at this concept called nuclear threshold countries, nuclear weapon threshold countries, then some countries are counted in that. One is, let us say, Israel, the other is South Africa, North Korea, kind of thing. Those countries who have already tested, apart from the permanent 5 members in the United Nations Security Council, those countries who have already tested, they are India and followed by Pakistan. And we all know that in 1998, in the month of May, under the Prime Ministership of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, the nuclear test, 2 successive nuclear tests were conducted. Now, if you look at the nuclear non-proliferation aspect, proliferation means spreading, right? Non-proliferation means non-spreading, or not to allow the spreading. So when you are referring to nuclear non-proliferation, this means that nuclear technology or the capacity to develop nuclear weapons should not spread, and not to spread it, therefore the non-proliferation agenda. But if you look at the non-proliferation treaty, which is generally referred to as NPT, NPT was signed in 1970. Before that, particularly when nuclear weapons was considered to be weapons of mass destruction, we have seen how Hiroshima and Nagasaki got affected. But after that, nuclear weapons with much more developed capacity, much more destructive capacity, were made by the superpowers, the so-called superpowers of Soviet Union and the USA, and then followed by the other 3 countries. In those times, an effort was made, not only by USA, which took the leadership role, but also by Russia. They wanted to stop the spreading of nuclear weapon horizontally. Horizontally means those 5 countries who are already having, the number of nuclear weapon countries should limit to those 5, and no other countries should achieve the capacity to develop nuclear weapons, should be able to capture the nuclear technology or develop the nuclear technology. So in that sense, a treaty that aims to protect the 5 nuclear weapon states as the sole custodians of nuclear weapons as they are having in their inventories, and the rest of the countries would be deprived of nuclear weapon technologies. The effort was to convince them that the nuclear weapons are very dangerous. Those 5 countries who are already having it, let them have it, but others should not have it. Now the treaty seems to be very partial. The treaty seems to be very short-sighted. The treaty was not having any long-term agenda as to the nuclear weapons should be finally destroyed at a certain point in time in the future. The earth would be allowed to get rid of the number of nuclear weapons that all these countries are having together in their inventories, in their stockpiles. India opposed it, as we know that India wanted that there should be a time frame, there should be a calendar date whereby all the 5 countries should also forego their nuclear options and their nuclear weapons, and finally the entire world should be made nuclear weapon free. But as we all know, that didn't happen because of the lobby of the USA, because many countries at that time were under the tutelage of USA, influence of USSR, France, of course UK were having on various countries. So many countries signed the NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty, which was having a period of 25 years till 1995. And they committed themselves that they would not be trying to achieve nuclear weapons at least for the next 25 years. So that means the two categories of countries were there who signed the nuclear non-proliferation treaty. Annexure 1 refers to countries who are having nuclear weapons, and Annexure 2 the countries who are who are not having nuclear weapons, and they would not try to achieve it at least for the next 25 years. That was the period of the treaty, the implementation period of the treaty. So in 1995 again the treaty was revived. Those member countries who signed it, they were again asked to sign that they will forego their nuclear options forever, post 95 forever. I mean, there is no time limit. So what happened naturally, that as India always took a kind of principled stand during the time of negotiation of the NPT, India didn't sign it. Israel didn't sign it. Israel said that our country exists in a very hostile environment. We are always suffering from a kind of existential crisis. There are many countries who are inherently inimical to not only the state, that is Israel, but also the civilization, that is the Jewish civilization. So therefore we will not sign it. We will keep the options with ourselves. As and when we require, we will go for it. India didn't sign it, citing ideological reasons with regard to principles, that the treaty doesn't contain any time frame within which the entire nuclear weapons needs to be destroyed. Because India didn't sign it, obviously Pakistan didn't sign it, citing that if India is not signing, then there is no reason why Pakistan should sign it, because Pakistan and India do not carry a good relationship, and India is a enemy to Pakistan. India is a country which puts the Pakistan into some kind of existential dilemma. They have already fought wars in 1947, in 1965, and thereafter in 1971. So they didn't sign it. Finally, when the NPT treaty was about to expire, before the revival of the NPT treaty or the renegotiation of the NPT treaty in 1995, what happened, that a new form of treaty was supposed to be brought into force, and it was referred to as CTBT, again by the Western leadership, particularly USA. What is CTBT? CTBT refers to Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty. Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty means those countries who are having nuclear weapons, they will continue to have nuclear weapons, but they will not go for any further test. That means post the NPT, when it was signed in 1970, the countries who are having nuclear weapons, they were allowed to continue to test the same. That means horizontal proliferation was targeted to be stopped. That means there would be non-proliferation horizontally. That means other countries would not go for nuclear options. There will not be spread of nuclear options, but the vertical proliferation will go on. Vertical proliferation means those countries who are having, they will continue to go for more and more stockpiles. So there was no condition with regard to stopping the vertical proliferation. Means proliferation, as we know, spreading or enhancing. So countries who are having the nuclear weapons in their stockpiles, they can go for more and more tests, and therefore more and more nuclear weapons also. But when the CTBT was brought to discussion, it was said that it will ban all kinds of tests, which is referred to as land test. I mean test, test under the land, beneath the land, then test in the sea or water or ocean, and the test in the air. So any three form of test would be banned. So that means, therefore it was called comprehensive test ban treaty. Comprehensive means all types of tests will be banned. But surprisingly, computer simulation test was not banned in the CTBT. That means those countries who have developed a kind of technology and a very broad based data with regard to nuclear weapons and nuclear technologies, that they don't need to actually go for any more tests either in the land or in the water or in the air. They can simply go for computer simulation by using those data, because they have developed that technology. So in the laboratory, in the organized technological environment, they can go for more and more nuclear tests by using the existing data, because they have already done thousands of tests, which were open tests either in land or in water or in air. And therefore those tests were banned, because other countries who would like to achieve it, let us say a country like India or Pakistan kind of thing, they have never tested it, therefore they don't have any data, and most importantly they don't have the technology to develop all those weapons through laboratory simulation or computer simulation. So therefore it was again permanently denying those countries who are not having nuclear weapons but want to have, or somewhere they are in the process of achieving that technology, that they will not go for any test. So that means they won't go for any test, and they cannot make computer simulation tests or laboratory testing. So they will be permanently denied to have these options of having more and more nuclear weapons, or at least to go for nuclear weapons. So again, as it is, many countries didn't sign. For example, Israel didn't sign. For example, India didn't sign. Again, since India didn't sign, Pakistan also didn't sign. But ultimately you will find that CTBT did not get the approval of some of the major countries. Even the USA Senate didn't approve it. That means the USA Senate was of the opinion, in spite of having thousands of tests that they have already done under the land, under the sea, in the air, etc., in spite of having very heavy bulk of data with regard to nuclear weapon testing, they probably would still require some kind of open test in future, and they didn't want to forego that option, right? That means they have developed the data, they have developed the technology, they could easily go for computer simulation or laboratory testing. But the Senate felt, from the point of view of national security, that if at all it is required, and they felt that it would be required at some point in time, that we may have to go for a nuclear test again, in the open format, that is the land, air and sea. So therefore banning those tests would not be a kind of good option for USA as far as US's national security is concerned. So they didn't ratify it. So therefore CTBT died its natural death. But there was a lot of pressure with regard to signing the NPT, with regard to signing the CTBT on India and the like countries. So basically the fact is that the non-proliferation was horizontally banned in NPT. It was supposed to be vertically banned in the CTBT, except the nuclear non-proliferation, the laboratory testing. So, but as it is, India was wise in handling the pressure. I remember it was Prime Minister Deve Gowda's government, when there was a lot of pressure with regard to sign the CTBT, all political parties, BJP, Congress, etc., all in the parliament spoke in the same voice and authorized the government to take the right decision, by not going for signing the CTBT treaty. It was obviously a very good move. And thereafter, as we know, that when Bajpayee came, because there was a lot of pressure that any time the CTBT treaty may be revived, if American Senate approves it, then it would be again a great pressure on India to sign it, and in that case it would be very difficult for India to ward off that pressure. Therefore, hurriedly, Mr. Bajpayee decided to go for the open test, that is in the month of May 1998, which was a very good decision. It is altogether a different matter that thereafter CTBT died its natural death, the lobbying also died along with it, therefore the pressure also evaporated as far as India is concerned. But the fact is that India didn't sign NPT, India didn't sign CTBT, and India was able to handle the global pressure with regard to CTBT. I remember that every kind of negotiation, every kind of discussion that was with the international delegates, particularly of Western countries, whether it is IMF, whether it is World Bank, whether it is any other negotiation, India's negotiation with the European Union, India's negotiation with the USA, even in those platforms where there was no need of talking about NPT and CTBT, but they would go on this rant saying that India should sign NPT, India should sign CTBT, etc., etc. Those were very difficult moments. I remember at that point in time I was in the university then, and there was a lot of pressure with regard to that. Thank you so much, students. I understand that this particular episode would be very helpful for you in understanding the nuclear non-proliferation. There are also the larger agenda. There is also a lot more debate with regard to it. We can deal with in some other episode. Right now, I think that we should stop it because the video is going to be much more lengthier. And please never forget to subscribe our channel, that is Utkal IAS, and also never forget to click the bell icon so that anytime a new video would be uploaded in our site, then you will be able to see it by way of getting the notification. Thank you so much.